In the derby of the round, Partizan defeated the current champion Budućnost in front of packed Aleksandar Nikolić Hall. Crvena zvezda trashed Mornar in Bar, while Cedevita defeated FNP in a dramatic finish. In the Croatian derby, Zadar defeated Cibona, while Olimpija scored an important win against Igokeja in Ljubljana. Crvena zvezda will finish this season off with an aid of Casey Rivers. The 31-year-old American can cover a number of positions, most importantly shooting guard and small forward. After finishing his studies at Clemson University, Rivers played in many European clubs such as Lokomotiv Kuban, Khimki, Panathinaikos and Real Madrid, who he won EuroLeague with. His contract with the red and white team expires at the end of the season. Mornar hired a new point guard, Daishon Knight. The American player spent the first half of the season in Bulgaria, scoring more than 20 points per game with Plovdiv. Before coming to Bar, Knight played in New Zealand and Qatar. Kostja Mushidi has left Mega. He will finish the season with OKK Beograd. Despite having won the European bronze with the U20 German team, Dan Milovic didn't give the young player much time on court. He played 8 ABA League games, averaging 8.5 points. Partizan won against Budućnost in the game of the round. Final score was 76-67. This was their 7th win in a row and 9th in last 10 games. With this win they secured a place in the playoffs. Plus they won with a bigger margin than they lost in Podgorica, so in case of same number of wins at the end of the season, Black and Whites will have an advantage against current champions. On this game Andrea Trinchieri was without Nikolić and Zagorac, while team from Podgorica is without Ivanović and Ilić for a long time now. In an extremely hard game with low shooting percentage from distance, additional problem for Jasmin Repesha was injury of Goga Bitadze, due to which he had to leave the play in the first period and he hasn't returned after that. Visiting team held the lead just once after Clark scored first points on the game. In following 7.5 minutes scored 15 points, while allowing only 2, and gained the lead, which with great fight and excellent defense they managed to keep until the very end. EuroLeague participant from Podgorica was led by Jackson, who was the best scorer in the team, but even he was unable to get a decent 3-point shooting percentage. After scoring just 12 points in the first period, Budućnost found their pace at the end of the second period. They got as close as -2, but the team from Belgrade made 8-0 run and once again held a double-digit lead. At the end of the first half, in which Norris Cole scored first points from play, went to visiting team, so the halftime score was 32-31. Third period was marked by MVP of the game, Jock Langdale. Australian was the one to blame for Partizan full control of the game. At the moment, home team had their biggest lead, +13, and prevented their rivals to come to an exciting finish. Even with a bad free throw percentage and 4 more turnovers, Black and Whites played great defense and limited their opponents to just 67 points. Nikola Jankovic played a huge part in this, and with 12 points, he was the second best scorer of his team. Most efficient was Jock Landale with 23 and great shooting percentage. Alex Renfro had 10 points, 11 assists and was just 4 rebounds shy of triple-double. For the current champion, Jackson ended the game with 19 points, Cole added another 14 and Earl Clark 12 more. Crvena Zvezda made an emphatic win in Bar, and with that win they theoretically kept first place and home court advantage throughout playoff. Milan Tomic was without Lazic, Perperoglu and Čović. They won 90-57 and made a great intro for domestic cup. Winner was known after first 6 minutes when scored at Topolica. Hall said 17-2 for visiting team. There was no statistic metric in which champion of Montenegro could parry their rival, but red and whites were most dominant with 2-point shots and in rebounds with 20 more caught balls than their rivals. Visitors from Belgrade made 14 out of 16 2-point shots. In a game like that, at the half-time they had 24 points lead. Except with even bigger dominance from champions of Serbia, third period was pretty much the same as the first half. In one moment, coach Mihajlo Pavicevic's team was close to complete disaster, since with 2 minutes left to play in the third period, score was 80-40. Everything that team from Montenegro coastline was to soften their defeat. Best scorer of the team was Baron with 14 points, while Dobric, Ristic and Ojo were in double digits too. With the losing team, best was Mičović with 15. Vranjes scored 11, while in his debut, Knight scored 1 point less. Cedevita gained most from the score from Belgrade. Champion of Croatia won against FNP in Dražen's home and won a guaranteed spot in playoff, while having one win more from their rivals for the second place. Team from Železnik has much to regret for since they held the lead for most time of the game, plus they had an open shot for the win, but their best player Stefan Pot missed. Coach Vladimir Jovanovic's team scored first 7 points of the game, but home team responded with 12-0 run. But the team from Zagreb was unable to keep that lead with excellent 3-point shots. FNP got +8 lead until the end of the first period. Unlike their rivals, Slavan Rimac's team had a lot of problems with the shooting percentage and mostly scored points from free throw line, where they also had a lot of missed throws. Visiting team completely controlled the game in the second period and even managed to get to double-digit lead. As expected, mostly energetic home team looked much better in the second half of the game, even though they were unable to keep percentage from the first half, but players from Železnik managed to keep Cedevita at bay during third period. With good rebounds, home team managed to end the period with 9-1 run and come to just -1. Until the very end, it seemed that team from Železnik will win. With just under 4 minutes left to play, FNP had 85-80 lead, but were unable to score until the end of the game, while home team made 7-0 run and with a lot of luck with the last shot managed to win. 3-point for the team and win of his team was scored by Edo Murić, who was the best player in his team with 18 points and 9 rebounds. In Cedevita, most efficient was Pulan with 21 points, Kops added another 14, while Stipanovic scored 10 more. This was another great game for Stefan Pot with 23 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists and 3 steals, but were unable to score for another comeback and surprise victory. Reed scored 19 points, while Rebec added another 16. Zadar made a huge progress towards staying in ABA League since they won against Cibona on home court. Final score was 95-91. Audience in Krešimir Ćosić Hall was able to enjoy exciting game in which no one managed to make a bigger difference. Even though both teams had good shooting percentage and low number of turnovers, pace of the game was affected with a lot of fouls and free throws. Thanks mostly to Dašić, coach Nazar's team opened the game somewhat better. But visitors from Zagreb not only didn't allow their opponents to make a significant lead, but they also managed to take lead twice during the first period that ended with a draw. First half of the second period went to the team from Croatian coastline. At one moment they even managed to make a double-digit lead, but were thrown out of rhythm by fourth personal foul of their best player Božić. Wolves from Tuškanac responded with 9-0 run and got back to the game. Thanks to Bilinovac, Cibona managed to take over the lead. They held it until the end of the third period when home team coach returned Božić to play. Zadar made a 9-0 run and started the last period with +6 lead. Božić continued to play great. He scored a 3-point in last 18 rounds, scored 4 times from beyond 6.75 meters in this game. With Mario Little, he was the one to blame for home team double-digit lead. Coach Velic's team didn't give up, but they were unable to bring the game to exciting finish. Little scored 20 points and was most efficient player in just a third win for Zadar on home court this season. Božić scored 17 points, 3 more than Dašić and Vuković, while Zorić and Von were also in double digits. Best scorer of the game was Damir Markota with 21 points. Bilinovac scored 15 points, while Gilbert and Rogić used absence of captain Rozić by scoring 13 points each. In the first game of round 19, Mega triumphed over Krka 80-72 in Sremska Mitrovica. Mega, playing without the injured Mokoka, dominated from the very beginning. After 5 points in a row by inspired Aščerić, the result was 14-9. The home team finished the first quarter in the lead 23-18, while Krka scored half of their points from free throws. In a high-energy second quarter, Mega shined in defense and offensive rebounds. After only 3 minutes and 4 points by Atić and a 3-pointer by Aščerić, the home team scored 7 unanswered points and took a 10-point lead for the first time in the game, 32-22. By the end of the first half, Mega had an 18-point lead. Japa scored a 3-pointer to close out the first half with 48-33. The home team excelled in defense at the beginning of the second half. It took Krka 3 minutes to score their first points. As the game continued, both teams struggled with offense, but Mega remained in the lead. Their lead ranged from 12 to 18 points, and they finished the third quarter much the same as the first half, in a 15-point lead, 64-49. But 5.5 minutes before the end, Japa, Škedelj and Lapornik scored series of 3-pointers, and with 12 unanswered points, Krka reduced the deficit to 4 points, 70-66. The guests were starting to look meaning, but they managed to score only 4 points in the next 4 minutes. 1 minute before the end, Aščerić scored a 3-pointer for 79-70 and Mega was out of the game. Japa was Krka's best player with 17 points, Larić finished the game with 11 and Mavra with 10 points and 9 assists. In Mega's team, Aščerić played his best game of the season. He scored 24 points, 9 rebounds and 9 assists. Mišković finished the game with 12 points. In the last game of round 19, Olimpija defeated Igokea in Stožice Hall 92-69. This was crucial triumph against a direct rival in the fight for survival. The guests started the game better, and halfway through the first quarter they were in the lead 10-5, but after that Olimpija started to dominate. Jones came in from the bench and took the lead. By the end of the quarter, Olimpija scored 19 to Igokea's 2 points, with Jones scoring 8. The home team went on break in a 12-point lead, 24-12. Not much changed when the second quarter started. Lazić and Lorbeck scored back-to-back 3-pointers, and the score was 34-14. Igokea got back in the game with 8 unanswered points, but they couldn't catch up with their opponents. At the halftime, Olimpija was in a 15-point lead, 48-33. Olimpija started the second half on high. With 13 unanswered points, they formed a 28-point lead for 61-33. Igokea stepped up in the next few minutes, but the home team kept them at bay with around a 20-point lead. When Špan scored at the end of the quarter, the score was 74-52. Nothing changed in the final quarter. When Šamanić scored 12, the home team had a 33-point lead. Olimpija sealed the game with their 6th win of the season. They more than made up for the 10-point loss in Laktaši, and should the teams be even on points at the end of the season, Olimpija would get the top spot. Andjušić was IOK's best player with 21 points. Lukovic finished the game with 11 for the guests, who scored 2 out of 27 3-pointers. 5 players scored 10 or more points for Olympia. Šamanić was the best with 18 points, Špan added 14, Jones 13, Lazić 12 and the captain Begić 11. Luka Ašćerić is the MVP of round 19. The young shooting guard played his best game of the season against Krka. In Pinky Hall, Ašćerić scored 24 points, 9 rebounds, 9 assists and a block in 29 minutes. With the best individual performance in the league and an index point of 35, he won the title of the MVP of the round. That would be all for this edition of ABBA Magazine. We'll be back first week of March with a recap of round 20.